Okay, well, let's round up today's top stories in the world of science with CTV science and technology expert Dan Riskin. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Dan, good morning. Okay, this is an incredible story. What a breakthrough this seems to be. A paralyzed man walking again thanks to brain and spinal implants.
Yeah, this is a man who in 2011 was in a motorcycle accident, lost the use of his legs, was paralyzed, and now he is walking with a walker. He's going up steps, he's walking over uneven terrain, and it's all thanks to a brain implant, a spinal cord implant, and artificial intelligence software that connects them. So when his brain wants the leg to move, it sends a signal, but it can't get there through the spinal cord because of the injury. And so now that signal is picked up by the sensors that have been placed against his brain. It's sent to a computer. The computer does an interpretation, thanks to artificial intelligence, of what that man is trying to do with his legs, and then sends the signal to the spinal cord implant that then sends the signals to the legs. And so the legs, he's really saying, I want to lift my leg, I want to hold it up, I want to move it here, and putting it back down. And so this is really, I mean, it feels like a miracle. This is really one of the most amazing things I've ever reported on, is to see somebody who was paralyzed able to take these steps again, and even just stand at the bar and have a drink with his friends, whereas before he was always sitting at the bar while his friends stood around him. And so this has been life-changing for him.
Wow, that is incredible. And a few days ago we talked about how Elon Musk's brain implant chip thing has been approved by the FDA. So wow, this could open up a whole new door for many people. Dan, turning to this, I'm very curious about now science is claiming they've created the yummiest or tastiest gummy bear.
Yeah, the problem with gummy bears, actually, there's almost no problem with gummy bears. Gummy bears might be the perfect food, but they do tend to get stale if they sit in the cupboard for too long. Not a problem at my house, but sometimes you go to the store and you buy them and you don't realize you bought a gummy bears that have been on the shelf a little longer than you expected, and they're chewier than they should be. Turkish researchers are working on it. They're adjusting the amount of water that's in there, but also the intermolecular distances among the molecules in the gelatin matrix. And they say that thanks to adjusting the levels of sucrose and glucose and some other things, they've been able to perfect it so that a gummy bear, even if it's a little too warm and even if it sits on the shelf for a year, is still going to be delicious. So I like to report that scientists not only are doing, unimportant things like helping people walk again, but very important things like fixing gummy bears. It's amazing. It's amazing what scientists are spending their time on, and it's making the world better for all of us.
All that education, all that training, all that research, and you put it into a better gummy bear. I mean, I love gummy bears too, but yeah, when the story before is about getting people to walk again using implants, this is about gummy bears. Yeah.
Hey, to each his own.
Yeah, science does a lot for us. Okay, so do you, Dan Riskin. We appreciate these conversations every Monday morning. We'll see you back here next week. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks a lot.
Shakespeareans is returning today as a masterclass for grade 10 students at Toronto's Bishop Morocco Secondary School, and it's now in its 25th year. The program hopes to help students to build confidence and communication skills and also so much more. So joining us now to talk about this are Hamilton star, the one and only DeAndre Woods, and Shakespeareans Executive Director Marvin Karen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So this is quite unique and special. Shakespeareans now in its 25th year. Maybe let's start with you, Marvin. Talk about the program, its inception, what it's doing around the world, really.
Well, I was a supply teacher at a school, and R.H. Thompson is a friend of mine, the award-winning Canadian actor. I said, can you come on up to the school? I have no idea what we'll do. We'll noodle around like two actors did. He came. He was electric. The kids loved him. And I said, we've got to do something with this. So we started a 10-school pilot program in 1998. And it involves going into schools all over Ontario, and now we've expanded into the UK and the US. And as I was telling you, we did an online version of the program for some students in China in September. And essentially, we're all about, as you say, empowering kids with character, confidence, communication skills by showing them that they can overcome the challenge that Shakespeare's language presents to them.
Oh, wow. I really like that. Okay, we're going to circle back on the issue of Shakespeare. But DeAndre, let's turn to you. You played the star, Hamilton, in Hamilton, and you're one of the pro actors lending yourself to the performance at 10 o'clock this morning at Bishop Morocco Secondary School. You're going to be kind of sparring with Colin Fiore. Right. What are you guys going to be performing? I mean, have you met him before? What's it going to be like?
I've met him through interview. Actually, I don't know Colin very well, but from what I know, Marvin keeps a great company around him, so I'm very excited to share the day with them, to be collaborating. We're bringing Macbeth, we're doing some Romeo and Juliet with the kids.
Yeah.
We're going to have them up on their feet and just sort of some immersive activities and just get them, like you said, out of their heads, onto their feet, and hopefully able to express themselves a little bit better after they leave today.
Oh, wow. And have you done Shakespeare before in your acting career?
I have not. Marvin
wow.
introduced. I've heard of Shakespeare, right? We've all heard of him, but I was just as intimidated as some of these kids may be today. But you know, Marvin really has a great process and technique to sort of make the language a little bit more tangible and fluid.
Totally.
For all of us in today's world.
Right, and Marvin, you know, in English class in high school, Shakespeare was kind of mandatory curriculum, right? So how do you make it kind of not so kind of boring and challenging for kids and get them to come out of their shelves and really dive and understand that material and emotionally connect to it?
Well, that's the great thing of having someone like DeAndre with us, because in the workshops that I get out to with DeAndre, he does this little rap from my shot, which is about a young Alexander Hamilton, just determined to make his mark in the world. And we compare that with Prince Hal in Henry IV, Part 1. And we discussed with the kids, it's the same thing, it's the same emotion. What Prince Hal was feeling 450 years ago is what Hamilton was feeling a couple of hundred years ago, which is what you're feeling today. And it's all the same. So by showing them the common thread, it just opens and explodes the language and opens it up for them and makes it relevant and meaningful to them. And not only with Colum, I do have to say, we also have Raoul Bahanajé, who did a one-man Hamlet, which toured all over the world. He's joining us at Bishop Morocco. And Dante Jamat, who is now at the Shaw Festival, came in from Niagara-on-the-Lake to join us today, and he played Romeo a couple of years ago at the Stratford Festival.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So there'll be 4 brilliant actors.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's amazing because, you know, Shakespeare, it's kind of like coding, but with the English language.
Exactly.
You're really breaking it down. Okay, so we can't let you go, DeAndre, without you doing a bit of your My Shot. Maybe you can fuse it with some Shakespeare, and we're going to take that to break. Action.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. I trust you understand the reference to another Scottish tragedy without my having to name the play. That's actually some Shakespeare in Hamilton itself.
Oh,
so it's just, it ties it all together. Yeah.
Okay, well, Marvin, Karen, DeAndre Woods, thank you both so much for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great event and happy 25th anniversary.
So much.
That's awesome.
For them, it's just another show, but for me, you know, it was everything. You know, I just thought, like, if I could tell this story, then
that is Emmy nominee Sarah Goldberg from the hit HBO series Barry, where she plays Sally Reed, sharing the screen alongside Bill Hader. Well, now Sarah's in a brand new all-dark comedy series that she created and co-wrote titled Sisters.
That's my father.
Oh, and that there's my Susie. She's looking a bit rough around the edges these days, but looking at you now, I see the resemblance. Your sister's all right.
What?
You've both got Jimmy's big jaw.
I have a sister? That's my father.
So for more on this brand new Crave series, Sisters, we're joined by Sarah Goldberg herself. Good morning, Sarah, joining us from London. Thank you so much for being with us. Good morning. You co-wrote this with your real-life friend, Susan Stanley, who plays your half-sister, Suze, in this series. How did this idea come about and to make it a Canadian-Irish co-production?
Well, Susan Stanley's been my best friend for 20 years, and she's from Dublin. So we always wanted to write something that sort of highlighted the culture clash between us and the humor that we found in our friendship over the years through that. And we wanted to explore themes of childhood trauma and how that affects your life in your 30s, as well as chosen family. So, yeah, we shot in Ireland last year, and it was a dream come true. It's been a real labor of love. It's taken us 7 years to get here.
Wow, 7 years. No, you really see it in the writing. It's so clever. It's so funny. Your character, you play Sarah, you go through some pretty traumatic stuff. I mean, you're caring for your mom who dies of cancer, and then she leaves you kind of this note saying, hey, guess what? The daddy you think is your daddy is not. He's actually a former busker in Ireland. So you make the trip there, and you find out you have a half-sister. So it's quite different from your character, Sally Reed, in Barry. What was that like for you? Because these are both dark comedies, but you play a very different character.
Yeah, it couldn't have been more opposite, which was fun. You know, it was liberating to do something new and in a different country. And we shot in a very quick way. So when we shoot Barry, we usually shoot for about 4 or 5 months, but we shot Sisters in 6 weeks. So It was a week per episode. So it was real fly by the seat of your pants kind of shoot, which was also sort of fit the road trip energy of the whole show. So it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, totally, because you both go on this road trip in an ice cream truck to find your biological father. And what was it like working with director Declan Lowney, who is, of course, responsible for the hit series Ted Lasso?
Declan is a dream, and he's like, you know, we just love him so much. We call him Father Deck. He came on board. He came onto the project like 6 years ago. And then obviously with the success of Lasso, we thought we were going to lose him, but he stuck with us all these years, and he's such a creative, hilarious person. And he really helped us sculpt the scripts and find, you know, mine them for humor. And he's just such a buoyant, wonderful energy on set. And also he's like royalty in Ireland. So all of our crew had worked with him years ago on Father Ted and all of these other brilliant shows in Ireland that he's made. So it kind of gave us an immediate passport into the whole world over there. We had our crew's respect because we had Declan Lowney. So yeah, we were so lucky. He's wonderful.
Okay, well, this series is very exciting. It's on Crave right now. It was actually, entire season was released on May 17th. Sarah Goldberg, Canadian and Emmy nominee, thank you so much for joining us from London. Take care. We'll speak with you soon.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Less Than Kosher is a tale of a promising young singer who has to move back into her mother's basement as her career derails.
So joining us live now is the star and the writers of the show, Shayna Silverberg and Michael Goldlist. Welcome to the show this morning, and congrats on having all 7 episodes of this complete, and it's going to be featured in the Toronto Jewish Film Festival. Shayna, let's start with you because you obviously star in this as Viv, the lead character, and I love how it's a mix between, you know, Shiva Baby and A Star Is Born. So is this like based on kind of your real life in some way?
I mean, the character is not me exactly, but the kernel of the story is based on a real experience where the rabbi who did my bat mitzvah reached out to me when I graduated theater school and convinced me to be a wedding cantor. And I was like, I am completely ill-equipped for this. I don't speak Hebrew. I don't keep kosher. I've never read the Torah. I don't know what I'm doing. But he said, it's fine, you're a good singer, you're a good performer, let's go. So had a lot of crazy experiences, and then we teamed up and decided to amp it up and make a series.
And Michael, you teamed up a while ago. This is really the sort of labor of love over multiple years.
Oh yes, yeah. We met really like 4 or 5 years ago. We'd known each other a little bit through just in the industry, and then we started working on this, and it took a lot of shapes and forms, but we worked, and then we started making it, and we filmed it like a year and a half ago, and now it's finally ready to be seen by the world, which is really exciting and nerve-wracking.
Wow, yeah, so it's 7 10-minute episodes. It's a musical comedy. How is it going to be pieced together and presented at the film festival? Is it just going to be like episodes back to back, or did you guys kind of edit the episodes together?
We did do an edit as a feature film in chapters, basically, so there are transitions. It's one story with one story arc, so that'll be the only way people can see it in that way, and then before it's released as episodes.
So how exciting is this now, Michael, to be releasing this at the Toronto Jewish Film Festival, you know, seeing your work being seen by other people live? That's got to be nerve-wracking, exciting, and maybe anxiety-inducing.
Yeah, it's all those things. I mean, we're going to have all of our friends, all of our family, all of the crew, a bunch of the cast, like so many people, and our community. It's like a Toronto Jewish film. The Toronto Jewish Film Festival is showing it, so a lot of Toronto Jews will be there, and they'll be judging us. But I think they're gonna really like it because like it's a very Toronto movie, and we're so proud of like how we showcased like Kensington Market, which is
so we'll recognize parts of the city in it. Yeah.
Oh my God! I had a trailer out there, and a friend of mine was like, "Was this filmed at Temple Sinai?" I was like, "Yes, it was filmed at Temple Sinai." So people are already recognizing the locations. Which is cool.
And Shayna, the main character in this, Viv, I mean, she's a songstress who starts out very strong, but then her career's kind of failing at age 30, which prompts her to become the cantor in, at the temple. But she kind of falls in love with the rabbi's son who's married, and she's a self-proclaimed bad Jew. So what is a bad Jew? I mean, to you, is it this subjective thing, or are there rules out there that say, okay, if you do this, that's a no-no?
So when we refer to a bad Jew, what we mean is that a lot of our generation especially, we like to joke that we're bad Jews because we don't follow a lot of the traditional rules. We don't keep kosher, we don't go to synagogue, a lot of us have tattoos, we don't follow those rules.
Right.
So she has rejected Judaism, and we've really set her up as this fish out of water so that she can come into this world as an outsider and be kind of the point of entry for our audience, whether they're Jewish or not Jewish.
Right.
And she's completely the wrong person for this job, but she happens to be really amazing at it.
Is that a risk at all in offending perhaps the older generation? And how concerning like how much of a calculated risk is that?
We don't write stories caring about whether people are going to like them or not. We write stuff that's true to us. I mean, I think we were worried it was going to be offensive. There's certainly some jokes in there that are a little hot, but the older generation that has watched it has really embraced it, and they really like it because ultimately it's an honest story about the power of community, the power of song, maybe not the power of laws and traditions, but the power of spirituality in a sense. And I think family kind of does lie at the heart of what makes this the emotional center of the movie. So, I mean, I think that stuff is good. But yeah, there's a couple of jokes that when my mom saw it, she was like, oh, okay.
But some of the other older generation have seen it. Those are their favorite parts of the movie.
Wow.
So it really depends.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't wait to see it. I saw the preview, the trailer, and I was like, I'm hooked. This is so relatable, and you're very funny in it, and your voice is amazing. So can't wait for people to watch it. Shayna and Michael, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Less Than Kosher at the Toronto Jewish Film Festival. Thank you.
Come out and play. It's fun in the dark. Tell me why you're so scared of a woman in charge. Baby, don't run. You're breaking my heart. Tell me why you're so scared of a woman in charge. She don't wanna be.
One of Canada's most promising faces in the music scene is back with a brand new single produced by one of music's all-time greats on a record label, Sony, responsible for fostering the likes of Whitney Houston, Annie Lennox, and Avril Lavigne. Devin Cole, she joins us now live on CP24 Breakfast. We're so excited to have you here. Your music, it is so catchy, so fresh, and I'm excited for today because a new track called 1-800-GOT-STRESS is dropping. So tell us the inspiration behind this song, and you love wordplay, so
I do.
Tell us what's behind the title.
Oh, thank you. I came up with this title with my manager, actually, because I was running out of ideas for all these sessions I was having in LA. And I saw it on a billboard, something like that, something like 1-800-GOT-STRESS. And we thought it'd be a great title for a song. And it kind of taps into a time in my life when I was really, really stressed out and really anxious. And I could never see the light of day at the end of the tunnel. So it kind of taps into that point in my life. But it sounds really hopeful. So that's good.
Yeah, and I think everyone can relate to that, especially over the last few years of the pandemic. And you really took off during the pandemic. I mean, I can't believe it was 2020 when you first started out putting out music online and going viral for your song, which I love because it stands for a woman in total control of herself. And of course, your clap back at Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines. But tell us about, how you got into music, because you didn't think you'd be a singer. You grew up studying different things, psychology, advertising. Did you have a musical family? Like, what started this?
I love this question, first of all. I've always been a musical theater kid at heart. I've always loved music, but it was always something that I could never see myself doing full time. It was like a dream, but never my plan. So I tried tinkering with a more like traditional route of like going to university, getting my degree, and wanting to go back to school. And then once the pandemic hit, I was like, maybe I should just follow my little old heart. And so I started putting out songs and doing TikToks that year, and it was the best thing I ever did for myself.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really brave, taking that leap of faith to follow your heart, because I think so many students, so many kids out there are like, do I go the safe route?
Totally.
Climb the ladder of meritocracy and whatever, or do I go with what fuels me and burns me? Okay, so you're with Sony Music. I mean, we've got this new track dropping today, but where do you see yourself going? I know you have idols like Shania Twain and of course Avril Lavigne, but like when you picture yourself 5 years from now, what does that look like?
Ooh, I would love a sold out world tour. I would love to continue making music that connects with people of all ages and backgrounds, and just I want to continue doing what fulfills me, and I hope I'm still doing that in 5 years.
Wow.
On a worldwide scale, though.
I love the rock star energy. You know, and going back to this song, 1-800-GOT-STRESS, you talk about that stressful time in your life. Was that 2020 when you moved from Calgary to Toronto, kind of started over, made that transition? What was that big moment for you?
2020 was a big year, I think, for all of us. On top of that, I was just graduating university. My parents were also getting divorced. It was like a big year of transition for me. So it definitely was a stressful year for me, 2020, as it was for all of us. But I think it just taps into any moment where you're feeling very anxious and hopeless. I know that feeling very well, of feeling very hopeless. But I hope if anybody listening gets solace out of it and knows that, you know, other people are going through it and that I'm here for you. Okay?
Yeah, we're definitely going to listen to you. All this new song is going to be the song of the summer. Devin Cole, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks
and
so much for
congratulations
having me.
on all your success.
Oh, thank you so much.
We'll definitely be seeing more of you. Okay, we'll leave you with more of Devon's music as we head into break. 1-800-GOT-STRESS drops today.